Hello, good afternoon. Thank you so much for coming today. We're the Harvard Federal Credit Union. We're very excited to bring you another one of our lunchtime webinars. Thank you so much for joining us. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about today. But specifically, we're going to talk about our budgeting presentation, but themed for the holidays, which is great. It's some like holidays in general can be very expensive, especially if you're not realizing all the extra costs that can be associated with it. Obviously, like the gift giving ones are big, but other ones can be really expensive too. So it's important to just kind of like keep this in mind, find different ways to figure out a way to budget for that in your general life. So we're going to bring a lot of cool tips and tricks for you today. But before we do that, I want to do a little intro of our team. My name is Ty Koppelson. I'm here with Jen Fries. We are two representatives of the community engagement team here at the Harvard Federal Credit Union. And one thing that I always like to answer is, why should you listen to us? And that's because we are actually certified credit union financial counselors. So we have certification in being able to talk about a lot of these great financial wellness and financial consultation ideas. And we know what we're talking about. So thank you all so much for coming here today. Before we get into the real content of today's presentation, I want to just do a couple groundkeeping little information tidbits. We are in webinar mode today. That means that you are all automatically muted and your cameras are automatically turned off, which is great. You can enjoy your lunch, take your time. You don't have to worry about coming in or making noise or anything like that. Because we are in webinar mode, this also means that the chat is disabled, but don't worry. We love questions. We always want questions, and we have the Q&A feature for questions. So this is not always easy to find, especially if you're not used to doing these types of webinars on Zoom, but it's very straightforward. If it's not on your main Zoom taskbar, you should see something that says Q&A. If you don't see it automatically, that means it's in the More section on Zoom. So the last circle there with the three dots is going to bring up the more different tools on Zoom. You want to find the Q&A feature, open that up, and then any questions you have, please just throw a quick question in there. The Q&A feature is really great at organizing those for us and popping them up on our screen. So we will be very easy to see your question and answer it. It won't get lost or anything like that. So please feel free to use the Q&A feature at any time. We're going to try to get to questions as we can throughout the presentation, or we'll have time towards the end as well to answer any and all questions. So we love questions, always want to hear them. And then this presentation is automatically recorded, and it's going to be uploaded on our YouTube, just like all of our webinars. So you can always review it later. You can take a look at our YouTube page where we have I would say over 100 hours of content, different deep dives of presentations into credit, into other budgeting tips and tricks, money, behavioral economics, lots of good stuff on there. So don't worry if you feel like you missed something, you can always review it later. And you'll get the link to this presentation in an email later as well, along with a survey link, because we are always trying to make sure that we are improving our presentation. We're improving the way we talk about the content we are talking about, and finding ways to really have a good conversation and to feel approachable and to feel like we are talking about things in a way that's helpful for you. So please, if you want to, feel free to fill out our survey, which you'll also get a link to at the end of our presentation and a follow-up email. So thank you all so much. Thank you for the little housekeeping. And then the first question we always want to answer, because we always get it every time, no matter what is a credit union? Why is it different than a bank? And that is a great question. So credit unions are not-for-profit financial institutions. So basically what that means is we do everything a bank does. We are basically the same as a bank. We do checking accounts, savings accounts, credit cards, student loans, investing even. But because we're not for profit, we don't need to make profit off of our members for shareholders. We reinvest the profits we do make into our community, into our members. This means that we're never going to be really pushy salesy, which is great. I think that's huge. We're only going to ever try to help you figure out exactly what you need, how we can help. And then we do a lot of different things for our community and our members as well. We generally have better rates. We generally have very few, if any at all, fees for our different services. In fact, we refund all ATM fees if you have our debit card, and that's even fees that are charged by other banks or private ATMs. We just give you that money back. It's one of the many ways we give back. It's really, really great. And then even though we have a bit of a smaller footprint, being a credit union, we are actually also part of the Co-op Shared Credit Union Branch Network. And this means that hundreds of credit unions throughout the nation, we all work together on one network, so that if you are traveling or something like that, you can go to an entirely different credit union that's also on the network, and you can access your accounts and your information at our credit union, which is really cool. Credit unions working together, not-for-profits working together, just helping each other out is awesome. Love to see it. But yeah, that's just a little info for you. So with that out of the way, let's hop into today's presentation, budgeting for the holidays, and how we can really get a handle on that. A little overview of our agenda is the important part is starting to prepare now. You might think, oh, budgeting for the holidays, it's October. That seems a little early, but you'd be surprised. Planning ahead obviously is always a good thing to do. And I mean, Halloween isn't without cost. I'm a huge Halloween fan. Costume stuff, especially if you want like a nice one, can be pretty expensive. If you waited last minute to get your Halloween candy, that can get pretty expensive. Those can be marked up pretty good. So, the point is all holidays have their cost, especially if you really are passionate about that holiday, as I am. And so it's good to plan ahead. It's good to spend wisely, figure out what's going to be the most important. But finding a way to create these lasting memories whilst also saving money is really, really important, really, really good, and what we all want from a holiday, right? So it's also going to be good to take what you learned this year and plan ahead for next year. Always find different ways you can figure out a new path and a new way to get on track with your financial wellness, but still get those lasting memories that you want. So without further ado, Jen, why don't you kick us off with start preparing now?
Okay, thank you, Ty. I'm also a big Halloween person. We actually go hard on all the holidays in my house.
Same, yeah, absolutely.
Or maybe not all, but lots of holidays that we do celebrate. And so it does get expensive. And so it is great to have a plan. And so in the perfect world, when do you start planning and saving for the holidays? You start like in January for the holidays that are going to be the following year. Obviously this is already October, so we're going to talk about planning for, holidays, winter holidays that are coming up right now, whatever they may be for your family, because I know there's some sooner rather than later. We got Diwali soon, and Christmas and Hanukkah also coming up pretty quick. And we'll also talk though about setting yourself up for next year, for 2026, for the holidays. And, if you're feeling like you're scrambling now, you could be in a different place next year.
Yeah.
I love it when I do something for myself in the future, and then later I'm like, thanks, Jen. Wow, you took care of me.
That's great.
So
yeah.
That's what saving's all about, taking care of yourself in the future and your family. So the first step for the holidays, and one that's definitely relevant now, even if you're just starting to plan now, is thinking about your holiday spending plan, right? Like, how much can you afford? Do you do this now? You just got married, so you do this with your wife now?
Absolutely, yeah. So we're really big in holidays, celebrating with family. Gift giving is a huge love language for us. So we really like to both give and receive gifts and kind of go a little extra with it. And so planning ahead is really good. Trying to figure out the general budget of how much I can afford or how much I want to is always a bit of a struggle, but something that's really important to kind of get a handle on.
Yeah. And I do feel like for myself, when I haven't done any planning or done a list or anything like that, I tend to buy more than I can afford, because I don't know why. It's like, oh, I want to make up for the fact that I didn't do a good job planning or something. So it's really good for me to take that time to do a plan. I actually keep my list of what I bought the prior year, because I kind of, otherwise, I don't know, I'll fall into something where I'm like buying the same thing for someone every year, and that feels a little weird too.
Yeah.
I don't know. So it really depends on what you have coming up. So when you're looking at your budget or your spending plan, one of the things you're going to want to do is break down how many pay periods do you have left for your event that you want to be spending on. Is there a certain amount you want to set aside? And you're keeping in mind how much you're spending, not only on gifts, but things like parties, meals that, are more expensive. If you're going to be traveling, we're going to talk about all these things in a little more detail. And, but this will kind of give you a starting point. It can honestly just be a Word document, or it can be a spreadsheet, but it doesn't have to be super detailed. I mean, for me, I honestly just keep a Google Doc, because I can find it anywhere. And it does tell me what I spent last year and what things, and it's really helpful too, because I tend to forget, like, oh yeah, when I fill stockings, it costs this much, or whatever it may be.
I think one thing we talk about a lot in financial wellness webinar, just in general, is the true cost of something, which is like really hard sometimes to have a good just mental image of like, something like a new car. Like there's the cost of the car, but then there's also the cost of like the gas, the upfront, like the taxes and all these other things that are added onto that. But it's really easy to just like, oh, it's just the presents, or oh, it's just the new car. But there's actually all these other costs as well. So
Yep.
that's why tracking those things, just like writing them down or thinking about it, will really help you have a better understanding of like what the true cost of the event is, or the holiday in this case.
Right. Like every time I give a gift, it's like, oh, that cute gift bag. And one thing I do try and do for myself to prepare for the following year is when they go on sale in January, I try and buy a bunch of like cute Hanukkah, Christmas gift bags
That's smart.
because we use them a lot and they're usually 50% or even less if you buy them in January.
Yeah.
And then you have to know where you put them. That's the other key thing.
Yeah, that's really smart.
One thing we also always like to mention is that if you are in a rough position this year, if you are one of the people who is a federal worker, maybe on pause or whatever, or you're just in a more strained financial situation, there are a lot of resources locally here in the Boston, Cambridge area and wherever you're calling in from. So we mentioned a few of our favorites, but you can Google, holiday gift assistance, adopt a family programs, and your zip code and learn what there is there. Like Margaret Fuller Neighborhood House in Cambridge. Now is the time to call and like get on the list if you want like Thanksgiving or Christmas meal help. And there's lots of other local charities that you might be in contact with if you feel like it's going to be hard for you to do what you want to do or to get some extra help, because that's okay. And on the flip side, if somebody's watching this and you're like, I'm really, I have what I need to be able to provide, maybe you also want to make a donation to some of these groups and adopt a family. We definitely do a Toys for Tots collection in our branches during December. So if you want to buy a new toy for a local kid, we'll get them to the right people. There's a huge effort to make sure those get distributed out. So
yeah, I love Toys for Tots especially because it's like some of these can be hard to figure out exactly like the best way to contribute to. But Toys for Tots is like always straightforward. You can get a toy, you can gift it. So
yeah, and it's fun and it just gives you a little extra of some of those good holiday feelings, right? Like okay. And then we do talk about like preparing for the unexpected, and that can be not only if something happens with your travel. Like one time when I was traveling over the holidays, it was a huge snowstorm. I got stuck in an unfamiliar city, and the airline put us in anyway, I ended up spending for a hotel. Let's put it, long story short. So there can be some of these extra expenses. We actually had a similar situation when my kid went to something. There was a disruption, which is very unusual on an Amtrak train, and we had to pay for a bus to get my kid home. So we did get that money back eventually, but we had to front it. So traveling can always have some extra costs, or having a little extra set aside for that can be the difference between being able to make a decision in that moment to be happy and comfortable and being in a little bit of a rough situation.
Yeah, it's great. And then, if you have that little bit of extra just in case of unexpected things, and then everything goes as planned, then you have a little bit more. You can either contribute to your family or friends, or, find a gift to or support one of these great causes. There's all sorts of great stuff you can do. But having that flexibility for both anything that could pop up is really great.
And then the other suggestion about expecting the unexpected is the whole idea of having just a few extra gifts on hand. Ty, have you ever had the situation where someone starts to hand you a gift and you're like, oh, shoot, this person was not on my list?
Yep, it's true.
Do you have a go-to like extra gift thing? I often have a few candles or fancy soaps tucked away because they can be hostess gifts or holiday gifts,
Yeah, candles is good. That's a big one.
Yeah. So it's just my boyfriend's big on buying, like he'll buy a few extra things of like fancy chocolates or something like that.
Yeah, fancy
honey,
snacks is nice. Festive like popcorn, things like that. Are great.
Because even if you're like sliding a little tip to someone too, like if that you see regularly, sometimes it's nice to put a little something with it. So, those are all possible things. So now we're going to talk about, so you have your plan in place we're gonna shift gears and just talk about spending wisely. There's a lot of temptations to just spend, and that's not really what any of these holidays are necessarily about. Certainly, you want to have a strategy to stay on track.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I mean, that's what the Grinch Who Stole Christmas is all about, right? It's like, it's
mhm.
not just about the gifts themselves, it's about the holiday spirit.
Right. Yes. Yes. A favorite special of mine from my childhood, definitely.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, so you've got your little plan, written out who you think you're buying for, and maybe you even have some ideas about it. Now's a great time to start doing some research. There may be different brands, there may be the same thing, obviously, can be much cheaper
Mhm.
depending where you get it. So it's a great idea to start researching, comparison shopping, yeah, looking at reviews and things like that. But one of the main things I like to also mention is buy something that that person is themselves likely to want. And I honestly, over the years, I used to think it was so important to have it be a surprise. And more, especially when I'm buying for someone I don't see all the time, is I either just ask them directly, like, hey, is there
Yeah.
something that you've been wanting to get, or I do give cash, like my niece and nephew, I love them so much. I do not see them enough to know, like, I can't make the little note like, oh, they could use an extra, whatever.
Mhm.
So, cash is really, it still is very meaningful. It's our time to like talk on the phone or text. And when I send it, like we're kind of then back in touch. Well, what's going on with you? That kind of
Yeah,
thing. So,
absolutely. Gift
yeah.
cards and cash always feel uncreative as a gift giver,
Mhm.
but are great to receive, especially for, like niece and nephew or somebody that's like you don't know quite what they're into.
Mhm.
That gives them the chance to do things like buy some like virtual video game or something that a lot of like especially younger folk are into these days. So
Yeah, yeah, and they can put, even if I'm just giving them a little bit, they can put it together with other money that they get,
yeah.
and you don't have to give enough to buy something huge
Yeah,
to
I
still make
loved
a difference.
doing post-Christmas shopping and stuff where I would like gather all my gift cards and things together, and then we'd
Yeah,
go
that's
out and
fun.
I could like maybe get something a little bit bigger that I wouldn't have gotten as a one-off because I had a number of different things that could work. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and I guess our main thing that we want, main takeaway of anyone who's attending this would be, you really want to avoid going into debt for
Yes.
the holidays. That credit card debt is the kind that has such high interest rates and just tends to really pile up. So we want to make sure that you are having your plan ahead of time. You're um, getting yourself ready through your plan, and that's kind of your armor to protect you from a situation in which you are going to be going into debt.
Yeah.
So,
And I think this might be a good time to just mention too, with like friend groups, sometimes it's really hard to get a present for everybody. And so
mhm.
doing something like either a Secret Santa or a Yankee Swap or White Elephant, which I think it can be really fun, where everybody gets one present and then you like figure out a way to like open a present or take something from somebody else. And like, especially if there's like a theme to it or something, it could be a ton of fun and create those lasting memories with the
Mhm.
friend group, sometimes even more like in a fun, creative way, rather than like getting something for everybody, which can really add up a lot. So
Yep.
something like, or even family, like sometimes it's nice to like maybe do especially if you have a big family. I have a big Italian family. At some point we were like, oh, let's all just do one big circle where everybody gets somebody one thing.
Oh, nice.
It can be
Yeah.
really, really great. So
Yeah.
something like that can really help, especially if there's an event where you all give the presents together. Can be a really great memory, really fun, like great laughs, but also like really help make sure that everybody can have a more affordable experience.
Yeah, and Thanksgiving can be a great time to check in with your family about this, like maybe mention it now, but check in with them. My mom also comes from a big family, and one year they just decided that at Thanksgiving they would choose names,
Hmm.
and then everyone would buy just for that one person or couple. I forget how they did it. They structured it. You can do it different ways, obviously, but that really helped. And there was sort of at the time, it was a $50 limit,
Hmm.
which was pretty generous at the time, like what they bought for each other. But
Hmm.
you just had that one instead of a lot of smaller ones, which would actually end up being much more than that in the
Yeah.
end. So yeah, think about it if you want to suggest this to your family now so that people don't start shopping for everyone.
Yeah.
And think about like doing that, pulling names at Thanksgiving. Do you want to talk about a little bit about the cash method? Have you ever used the envelope
Yeah,
method or
yeah,
cash method?
absolutely. So there's kind of the envelope cash method, which is a way to really like tighten down, and especially this is great for people that like me, that struggle with maybe overspending a little bit because they're like, oh, but I could get one more present, or like, oh, there's this thing that I really want to get them, but it's a little bit out of my budget, but like, oh, I just want to get it for them. And sometimes that's great, and sometimes that can work, but especially if you're doing that a lot, you can go over budget, and you really don't want to go into debt for the holidays. So the cash method is you figure out that plan, like we talked about. You figure out exactly how much you can afford, what your budget is for spending for the holiday. Then you take that money out as cash, and you put that cash in an envelope, and you write on that envelope holidays. And then when you go shopping for the holidays, whatever it is, you take cash from that envelope and you spend it. And then when that envelope's empty, you're done. Which can sometimes be like, oh, but I wanted to do more, whatever. But it can really help you make sure that you stick to your budget, that you stick to your track, especially if it's something you struggle with, is going to be really important. So you'll know you've figured it out, you know what that budget is, and then making sure you stick to it can be really, really great. And you can use this in a lot of different ways. You can use it for, an envelope for groceries, an envelope for bills, that kind of thing, if you need to. It's just a great little method to just like give yourself an extra layer of locking into exactly what you are able to stick to budget-wise.
Yeah, and that's obviously an old school method, but there are modern variations of it. Like you can have an account that is just for the holidays that you start saving in earlier in the year, and that's only spend out of that account for the holidays when it comes.
Yeah.
We do have some of those like holiday savings accounts where they're actually locked down. You can't withdraw from them during the year. You just deposit on a regular schedule. And so if you're someone who's kind of finds yourself stuck many years, that's like an option to think about, is like literally locking in your money ahead of time so that you're not spending it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are I think that the main thing is get yourself in a situation where you're not having giant credit card bills coming in January for you.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what you're spending, and you have a plan to pay it off. And then we definitely want to talk about the fact that creating lasting memories does not have to, cost as much money. There can be a lot of things that you can do that are really special, that either could save money or just are kind of ways to make sure that the gifts you give are not just things that, are an item. It could be more than that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of relating to both finding ways to save money and creating lasting memories, something like a handmade gift, if you can crochet or knit or something like that, or do like an artistic project of some kind, can be really great. A lot of those things require more effort and less money, and can be a really great lasting memory for the person you give it to, or that you put a lot of handcrafted hours into that present, which can be really, really awesome. Some of my favorite presents I've gotten were made by my brother, my wife, just for me. Is really great.
Yeah. And then I think 2 years ago, my boyfriend and I did this, and it was really great. So one of the things you can think about is giving something that will lead to an experience that you do together later, or even during the holidays. Like maybe you give tickets to something like the Nutcracker and you go see that with your family. There's the Black Nativity show here in Boston that a lot of families do together. Like giving that as a gift can be like a memory that you do together. But my boyfriend and I did something, because we celebrate both Hanukkah and Christmas. It's just a lot of gift giving moments.
We do too. Yep.
So what we decided we wanted to do, I mean, you could also, some people skip some of the Hanukkah stuff for adults, but what we decided is we gave each other a lot of restaurant gift cards, and we specifically looked at restaurants that we hadn't been to before. And then that honestly it was a lot of spending in those, those 8 days. However, then during the whole year, whenever we were like, oh, where do we want to go? We can't decide what we want to do for like date night. We would look at the cards and be like, oh, is this the night that we try, La Bodega or whatever, like some new restaurant we hadn't been to. So it actually spread this, even though the spending was all done in a short period of time, it gave us date night for like the next 8 months or something, or more. I can't even remember. So, we made a point to spend them over the year. You don't want your gift cards to just go to waste, but that was really fun and got us out trying new places, getting out of our rut maybe. And you can do that similarly with like classes, memberships. I love memberships to like the Children's Museum or the Science Museum, or you could ask family members for that. I live in a really small house, so we used to ask for a lot of these things when my kid was smaller. because we didn't have a lot of space for toys. So, if someone was looking for something, a grandparent was looking for something to buy, those were really special things and memories, to go to a play together or to have a membership at the zoo or whatnot.
Yeah, we actually just went to a show that my wife got me for Christmas last year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was very
Yeah.
far in advance, but it
Yes.
was great because we had orchestra seats because it had been bought so far in advance. We had like really nice seats.
Nice.
It was sold out. It was a really great show. So
Yeah, we've done concert tickets too, and those are actually great as well. And you can also, if you have like a sports person that you're buying for, a sports fan, those are great. And if you buy them ahead of time, they're usually cheaper.
Yeah.
And it can give you a lot of like enjoyment throughout the year. And I know on the slide it says season tickets, as though that's something small. Those are usually very expensive. However, if you're like group gift for dad or mom who really, really loves this team, you know what I mean? Like, it
Group
can be
gifts
worth
is
it.
another just great thing to highlight, like especially if you do want to get something a little bit nicer, if you and your siblings or whatever are able to kind of pool together to get that one bigger, nicer thing, will be really great, or a really great experience, that can be another really good option that makes the cost a little bit more affordable for everybody.
Yeah. Oh, some other, just for people who are in the area, some other like seasonal things that we've done. When my kid was little, we used to love to go to Drumlin Farms. The Audubon Society at Drumlin Farms has a Halloween themed event. It's a fundraiser. It happens at night there. There's like a hayride. There's spooky jack-o'-lanterns all down the hill.
Love it.
It's called Tales of the Night. I really recommend it if you have younger kids, because there's also like, ooh, it's a spooky spider, but she's the spider from the nursery rhyme about Little Miss Muffet.
Yes.
Whatever. So it ends up not being scary, but for your little kid who wants to be scared, but you don't want to have them truly scared by something, it's a great like in between thing. And then when my kid got older, we used to like to go to the Sturbridge Village has a similar event, but it's more, I would say it's better for your older kids, because it like 1 year it was like all Edgar Allan Poe themed, and you walked around Sturbridge Village and they were doing like mini plays.
Ooh.
At each, or 1 year it was the Headless Horseman, like Sleepy Hollow. So they always pick like a literature theme. And then there's like fun Halloween cocktails and things like that. So like look for things like that. There's Mount Auburn Cemetery has something with lights in the for
I've been to that a couple
Christmas.
times.
Yeah,
It's really
really
cool.
nice.
Yeah.
I personally just love those kind of things. I think being out in like the woods or the whatever at night, it's just a very special kind of fun experience. So we look for those kinds of things in my family.
100%. I completely agree.
Okay, and now I think this slide is to help us just think about some of the things that we do that can be really low cost, but actually often like core memories for the holidays. Going caroling, making cookies, setting aside that time to do cookie baking with maybe with younger people in your family, or maybe just with friends.
Yeah,
Doesn't
doing
matter.
something together,
Yeah.
movie night, gingerbread house competition can be a ton of fun.
You've done those, right?
Yes, yeah, we generally do one gingerbread thing every year.
Okay.
A couple of years actually, we did kind of like a Great British Baking Show thing where my siblings and I we picked something like really ambitious, like holiday
build the
themed
Taj
cake
Mahal?
pops or something.
Okay.
And like none of us really bake or anything, and then we give ourselves like a really small time window, so everybody's gonna do terrible, but it's a ton of fun because we're all running around the
That's
kitchen like,
funny.
give me the frosting.
Yeah.
And just like it's a blast because of how chaotic it is, which really works well for us. Can be a ton of fun, and just finding a way to it's not just about the day and the gifts, especially around the gift giving holidays, but it can be about the experiences surrounding them, leading up to it, that can really make sure you feel like you have those lasting memories, those new traditions, that kind of thing.
And one thing I like to talk about here is that something that my family that we do every year is, and it's free, is that we live in the city. We like to walk around at night and look at people's holiday lights. So there's some people who go all out, like in Somerville, in my neighborhood, in Cambridge. And we just pick a direction. We do this like multiple nights, actually. It's just fun for us. Like, oh, hey, do you want to go and see what's going on over here or whatever? And different directions, we'll pick up different friends along the way, like grab them. And we walk, we look at lights. Sometimes we sing a few Christmas carols, but it's really meaningful. And it's a time where we just end up talking a lot together and just enjoying. the season and feeling like you're separated away from your phone screen and other things, that kind of take you out of the moment.
Hmm.
And so that's been really important to us. We've also done some holiday volunteering together. Like when my kid has been home from winter break in college, the credit union does volunteering regularly at Food for Free. And one year I got to bring my kid along to do the holiday, the grocery gift packing at Food for Free. So that was something kind of meaningful to do.
Yeah.
That was free of charge. Obviously, it's a tradition that you can do together. And I know a lot of families do that too.
100%.
Yeah.
Shout out Halloween, of course. Also, there's
Yeah.
a lot of like jack-o'-lantern displays and Halloween displays you can walk around your neighborhood and see,
Oh,
whether
yes.
they're sort of more curated at a specific farmer zone or just in the neighborhood. That's another great time to get out there and
Yeah, or
check
like
it out.
just carving pumpkins with your kids or your friends or whatever can also be
Yeah, I'm
like
doing
a
that
really
this
fun
weekend.
thing. Nice.
Very
Yeah.
excited.
Yes, we need to do that. We bought our pumpkin, but we haven't carved yet. Um, my neighborhood goes really big for Halloween, so we have to uphold the tradition. It's important. Okay. So this was kind of a quick and great conversation. We're about to wrap up, but we will take a moment to take a look at your questions. So just to recap, it's how you're going to implement this would be to, if you're implementing it for next year, what you're going to do is think about how much time do you have. How many pay periods do you have during the year before your significant holiday?
Yeah, another reason why it's good to, like Jen said earlier, start preparing for next holiday January 1st, because it's like the more pay periods you have, the easier it is you'll be able to contribute a little bit here and there as you go. And then suddenly you feel you'll have this very like weightless savings ahead of time for the holidays for whatever you need, without needing to feel like all this pressure to go into debt or do any of these other things because you just didn't quite prepare early enough. So
Yeah. And I think now is a good time, even if you feel like it's too late with my family, we're on this track where we're all buying presents for each other. Even though we're all sort of like, why? You can actually make a resolution now that at Christmas, when you're all opening them, you can suggest, hey, what might be fun next year is, we all love this charity. Why don't we give to them instead of buying gifts? Or do we want to pull names for next year so that, especially if you have people in your family who are like really early shoppers, you might need to do
My
that
mom.
this year for Christmas so that next year you're in a different place. Have the conversation. So it's great to set yourself up for that. Start saving per pay period for what you want to save during the year. It's great to auto deposit those savings into a named savings account, because if you know it's for the holidays, then you won't touch it for other times. Or you can even have a lockdown holiday savings account. We have those at the credit union, and a lot of banks have them as well. Plan your travel as far in advance as possible. Obviously, if you're buying tickets very close to your travel, you're paying more for them. You're paying a premium. So as much as you can, lock in your dates, get your tickets and that kind of your hotels if need be, all squared away early. You can buy gifts that you want early or on sale. So those are all great ways to get yourself in a better place for next year if you feel like you need that. One thing, if you're hearing all this and you're saying to yourself, well, I actually have no idea how to make a budget, or I've tried before and I can never figure it out or whatever, we have help for you available. You do not need to be a credit union member to use GreenPath. GreenPath is probably my number one takeaway from a lot of these
100%.
presentations, because GreenPath is a nonprofit that provides free counseling. You can make a budget with them. You can get credit counseling if you are feeling like you're experiencing extreme credit card debt or just don't know how to get out of credit card debt. GreenPath is there for you. They can help you make a plan. They can get you to a place where you are successfully paying off your credit cards. You're not alone. Lots of people have been there. If you're in that kind of situation, don't worry, there is help available. They can help you with student loan. They're certified student loan counselors, so they can help you make a plan about repayment, housing. So GreenPath is a great resource. Again, You can just go through this referral. You don't have to be a credit union member, although we of course would love you to join the credit union. But that's just something that's there for you, and you can take advantage of. We are gonna send out the survey link in the email, so you'll get this recording and all these slides sent to you. If you want to pop a question into the Q&A, go ahead and do that. You're going to go into the three dots at the end, the more, if there's a question that you want to ask us, and go into Q&A. And we'd love to answer any questions that you have. Ty mentioned that we do have a YouTube channel.
That's right.
We are Harvard FCU on all socials and on YouTube. So you can search for Harvard Federal Credit Union or Harvard FCU, and you'll be able to see not only this presentation, but lots of other great presentations on different financial topics. We're really happy that you were able to join us today. I think that it looks like that we are able to wrap up now, because I think
I'm
that
not
we've
seeing any
covered
questions, which is
everything.
great. I'm glad
Yes.
that we were pretty comprehensive,
Yeah, yeah.
But again, like, you can always reach out to us on any of these social channels if you do have something follow up or anything like that. And then reach out to GreenPath if you do need any more help, or if you're wondering how to apply some of these concepts more to your individual situation. It might be more complicated. We talk very grand scheme about this, like, educational things that could help. But if you need a little more help, GreenPath is amazing. There's all sorts of great resources, and reach out if you need to. But we're always here for you. Thank you guys so much for coming, and good luck with the holidays and with everything else in between.
Yeah, we hope it's really a meaningful time for you, whatever holidays you are celebrating. So
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
okay, thank you.